Hello, all, and welcome to the What If series. Today, we're going to do a little bit something different. We've done a lot of, what ifs on history and stuff like that. So, today, we're going to do a fun one. We're going to do something just for the fun of it, kind of go on the nerd side. And today's topic is going to be what if Disney bought Star Trek? Because about a year ago, there was a whole bunch of rumors that Disney was going to do it. And then that kind of went away. But thinking about Disney buying Star Trek is scary but funny at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, Although it would be the first time in history that you could actually do a Star Trek versus Star Wars, which every Star Trek or Star Wars fan has done to nauseum in, like role play or stories, or hell, I wrote a story about it when I was in grade 6. um they've always pitted one against the other,
Yeah.
in some capacity, but it would be the first time in a long time, if forever, that both properties were under the same roof and you could have a crossover.
Oh, not you could have. You would have.
You think they'd do it?
Oh,
You
I
think they'd
guarantee
pull the
you.
trigger?
I guarantee you they would do it.
If they'd pull the trigger on that?
They'd make some really crappy movies and stuff first, but then eventually they would be it would just be too easy of a thing to do, so they would eventually do it. They would have to make some movies first to piss off all the hardcore Star Trek fans.
Well, of course, you can't.
And then after that, after they got them good and salty, then they
Well,
would make a crossover.
it's funny because I just thought of this, and it's really scary. But I just thought of this because at the end of Picard season 2, there's a anomaly that is being protected by the Borg. Right? It's a gateway to somewhere. There you go. There's your opening. Star Destroyer, come out of that son of a bitch. That is no moon. Something like that. But a whole fleet of Imperial starships come out of that thing. But it's just, to me, the thought has always been like, in theory, it would be fun. Like, just as a mental exercise, it would be fun.
Yeah.
What would happen if this character met up with this character? How would Star Wars ships deal with shields? And the fact that, depending on who you believe, the capabilities of one ship compared to the other, could a Sovereign class take on a Galaxy class, or take on a Star Destroyer? Probably. Right? Like, probably. I mean, they have shields.
Yeah.
And they can fire from further away. I mean, that's just proven in like that travesty of a movie called that second that number 8 there, where they're chasing the fucking vessel forever with
Oh
all these
yeah.
Star Destroyers, but they can't get within range. If that was the Enterprise, they would have fired already, right? Like, the ship would have been gone already. So we already know that the Enterprise E has a longer distance for firing. And if you follow naval tradition, the ship that fires first is usually,
Yeah.
that can fire first and stay. The easiest way to beat an opponent is stay outside of their firing range and fire at them. That's been an old naval tradition forever. You always want to have the ship that is faster and has the most accurate range with your guns. Because if you can stay outside of your enemy's hitting range and just fire at them and knock them out of the water and they can't return fire, that's the best day out of the year.
Yeah.
Right? So in that sense, a lot of the Starfleet ships have the advantage over the Imperials because they have these big. Well, the TIE fighters would be a problem, but they don't have shields, so it's
Yeah.
one shot, one kill. With a phaser.
Yeah, they like to blow up really good.
Yeah, they blew up real good. They blowed up real good. Then again, if you go by, depending on which canon of Star Trek, the Enterprise, the old Enterprise had 100 shuttles on it or some fucking thing in Discovery. Fuck. So yeah, okay.
It
Then
would
the
be very
Enterprise
interesting.
releases 100 shuttles.
It would piss a lot of people off, but I still think it would be interesting.
Oh, it would be interesting. It would just be absolutely hilarious. What would Vader do if he met the Borg? That was always my question. Right? If the Borg got to Vader, what would happen? Or even worse, what happens if a Borg manages to get to the Emperor? Could you imagine a Borgified Emperor?
Oh, that would be crazy.
That would be insane. All right. So, and then they'd have to decide, of course, is it all of the Star Trek universe against Star Wars universe? Or is there still the divisions?
Yeah.
Right? So do you have the Klingon, like the Romulans trying to make an agreement with the Imperials, and the rebels trying to make an agreement with Starfleet, and yada 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 yada. Like, you could drag it out so it was a war, kind of, but then you'd have a mix of Starfleet, Star Trek entities and Star Wars entities combining forces.
Yeah,
So you'd have
which
the good and the bad.
I could see that. I could totally see the Rebels and Starfleet like teaming up against some other greater evil,
Yeah.
whatever that evil may be that they
Yeah.
decide to make it.
Yeah. So, like, to me, it would be really interesting. But I don't think it would save Star Trek in any way if Disney bought the franchise just by their handling of
Yeah,
Star Wars.
probably not. Yeah.
We might get a new TV show, though. Like
Oh,
Discovery
yeah.
would be gone.
It would be on Disney Plus.
It'd be on Disney Plus. So you'd get a couple more animated series, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, CBS is doing a couple, but I think Disney would go all in on that because they did that with Star Wars. Although the Disney rides would be interesting,
I didn't even think about that.
right? Like,
I was just thinking about movies and TV shows. I
yeah,
wasn't even
but
thinking about, like,
they'd have to have a Star
Trek.
Trek portion of Disneyland. So
Yeah.
you could have the Enterprise D remade or something. Because they wouldn't go with the original Connie. They'd go with the D or the E, or, well, maybe they'd go with Connie. Just, try to get the older fans in.
Yeah.
Live aboard the Enterprise for $4 million a night. They did that with Star Wars, didn't they?
Yeah, like their fucking Star Wars hotel.
Yeah. Live aboard the Enterprise for $4,000 a night.
That totally immersive experience.
Yeah, we'll even give you a uniform and everything. Yeah. Fuck. Oh, God. Yeah, I could see that being in competition. They'd put it down the block from the Star Wars one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, don't worry, you're aboard the Enterprise for $4,000 a night.
You can't leave.
No.
Just pay your money and you have to stay here.
Yeah. But I think Disney would do a lot more of that kind of stuff with the product. I don't think it would get any better. If their track record of Star Wars tells you anything, I don't think it would get any better.
It wouldn't.
Although that would make Princess Leia a Disney princess.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way either. Yeah.
Huh. Oh boy. I think a couple of Disney princesses would be getting their asses kicked. I'm just saying.
Yeah. They would wring every last dollar out of that franchise.
Well, Princess Leia already is a Disney princess because she's owned by Disney.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about Star Trek.
Yeah,
They would
Star Trek.
wring every
Star
dollar out
Trek
of it.
would have. So I don't know why my brain went to that, but anyway, I
That
mean,
is interesting though. I never thought of her. She's now a Disney princess.
she is. She's a Disney princess. So, like, does that mean that Oh my goodness, Troy. She's technically royal. Her mother is. Oh my goodness, that could be bad. But like fans have fantasized about Star Trek versus Star Wars for years, since forever I can remember. It would be always the Star Wars guys telling us, well, our ships would destroy you, and then you get the Star Trek guys going, frig off. What the hell are you going to do against a Borg cube? Go away, right? Like, yeah. And then you get the smart ass like me that goes, well, I see your Jedi and I raise you a Q. Like I'm just, yeah. I see your Jedi and I raise you a Q. So there was always that banter between the fandoms. I think it would get really bad if Disney now owned it, because there would be a push. Whether us old Star Trek fans would be on board with this, there would be a push to have a crossover of some kind.
There's too much money to be made.
Yeah, I mean, it would be finally, after so many years, the Federation versus the Empire, right? Like, it just screams money. It would be poorly done, I would imagine, but
it wouldn't, and there'd be weird crossover characters that people hated, and
yeah,
it would be interesting.
Well, just the arguments alone, like if you had a movie where the Enterprise E went up against a Star Destroyer and blew it out of the sky without any issue, you'd have the Star Trek fans celebrating. You'd have the Star Wars fans pissed.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not going to be able to make anybody happy, because if the Federation just walks over the Empire, right? Because they're, viewed as, the right political backing. They just walk over the Empire like they don't exist. All hell would break loose, right?
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation.
If you do it the other way around, where the Federation has an issue dealing with the Star Wars universe, then the Star Trek fans will raise Cain because they don't believe that they should have a problem. We have shields. What the fuck? Right? And photon torpedoes. What the fuck? So you no matter which way you spin it, you're not going to please both fandoms.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form. So in a sense, I would be, even if Disney bought them, if I was sitting on the board and I was, giving them ideas, I'd be like, yes, there's money to be made there, but
they don't have the best track record though of making good decisions.
It's just, I'm like, I was just sitting there going, but yeah, but you're dealing with two very devoted fandoms, very devoted. And if you screw something up in the slightest, the backlash is going to be enormous. It could tank a movie easy. All they need to know is that one little aspect of it is fucked. And forget it, right? So, I mean, they have a hard enough time researching for one freaking franchise. I mean, Star Wars technically, I mean, other than books, sorry, other than books, has less screen time,
Yeah, that's true.
right? It is less screen time canon than Star Trek. Because traditionally, Star Wars was movies. Traditionally. And then they kind of branched out a little bit. But with Star Trek, I mean, you have 7 seasons of TNG, you have the seasons of DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, the original series, all on screen. So it's all canon. And then you have all the movies. So Star Trek has more screen time.
Yeah, I never thought about that. But yeah,
A lot more screen time canon, which is why it's so hard for these writers to remember everything. I'm not giving them any, get out of jail free card, but there are contradictions within canon. Right? Actual canon that we consider actual canon.
yeah,
So there's a lot there. And for both franchises now, you would have to really be specific. It'd be like the Federation versus the Empire. Because if you expanded it out, okay, well, why would the Federation be attacking the rebels?
yeah.
They
I
have
don't
the
see
same
that.
values.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Right? So the rebels would be on Starfleet side, right? Then you could probably draw that the Romulans and the Cardassians and probably, maybe even the Borg would be on their own side. The traditional Borg, not this new flowery Borg, but the traditional Borg. They'd be on their own going, hey, new people to assimilate. Yay. And then, so you would have that divide. So it would turn from Star Trek versus Star Wars to Star Trek and Star Wars baddies versus Star Trek and Star Wars goodies. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you wouldn't have the Federation nuking the fucking the rebels, because the rebels would be more aligned with their values. So they would probably team up.
Yeah. I don't see any way where they wouldn't team up.
Right?
And if they made it where they didn't team up, that would be like ultimate suicide.
Well, yeah, it's like, what the fuck? No. And then, so, again, it's just, it's a really interesting brain think of how that would play out and how they could fuck it up. And knowing Disney, they would fuck it up.
Oh, they would royally fuck it up.
Like CBS would be like, yeah, we might have screwed up a couple of these, sorry. And Disney would go, hold my beer. We'll make Discovery good again. Like, because if you think about it, right, Disney would do to Discovery and Picard what Disney did to the prequels.
Yeah.
Right? The prequels, for the longest time, when I was growing, when they came out, they were the abominations of Star Wars. What the Jar Jar? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Then Disney released 3 movies. Okay. The prequels went up in the rankings.
Yeah.
Not by doing anything.
It's
just
bad
by something worse coming along.
It's bad when you make the prequels look good.
Yeah. And I have a feeling Disney would do the same with Star Trek.
Yeah, more than likely. I would agree. Even if they didn't do a crossover, even if they just took on the franchise and started making their own movies and shows, they would royally screw it up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But would still make a shit ton of money somehow.
Oh. That's the one thing. They're always going to make a shit ton of money. Even if they have to cook the books, they're going to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they don't make their money in the fact that it's selling well, then they'll just charge the theaters more money. Or they'll charge somebody else more money. If they're not getting it in tickets, they'll get it somewhere else. There's always a way for them to make money. That's kind of the way that the system is set up.
Yeah.
Which makes me laugh that they still manage to lose money because they're idiots. Right? It just baffles my brain. The problem with Disney, and this is kind of going off topic here, but I think the problem with Disney is they have so much, they're just stupid, right? There is this big thing staring them in the face with neon lights. If you do this, you make bank. Your neon lights. And they go, that would be nice, but I think we'll try this first.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the fuck, you stupid. Like, it's right there in neon lights, right in front of their freaking face. Do this, and I shall make money. I think what I'll do is this first. That's a good idea, but I think this would be better. And then, why are we losing money? Because you didn't do that. Oh, shit.
We'll just sell more T-shirts and raise ticket prices for the park.
We'll just raise the prices at the park. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll bankrupt a couple of families trying to go to a freaking theme park for 5 minutes. But it just, I don't think Star Trek, like, as painful as it is for me to say this, in a lot of ways, I think Star Trek needs to, get the 3rd season of Picard out, finish off whatever the fuck you're doing with Discovery, and then pause.
Pause and regroup.
Right? Wait a couple of years and then revisit. Because you need time for, I guess, people to forget what you did before.
Yeah.
Right. And that's about 4 years. So usually how long it takes, give or take. Right? Go away for a while. Then people will miss it. Oh, I miss Star Trek being on. They don't miss the show. They just miss Star Trek.
Yeah.
So now when you bring it back, there'll be the initial, well, let's see if they've got it this time. And then you just better not fuck it up. At that point, just don't fuck it up. They will, but, whatever. But, I think if Disney were to buy Star Trek, that would be about the only benefit, is that Disney could easily put the brakes on everything and give it a rehaul and a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
Right? And they could wait, not quickly release a Star Trek movie just because we bought Star Trek, but wait like a year or two. Just sit on it. And, we're getting the team together. We're getting the right You take 2 years, you release a movie on the premise that we've heard the fans. We're doing this their way, right? And then you actually do it. But fuck.
That's the problem, though.
That's the problem.
They did not do that with Star Wars.
I fully expect there to be a full-time fucking TV show on Jar Jar Binks because he was a fucking beloved Star Wars character, so Disney thinks.
I guarantee you somewhere that's on the drawing board.
I wouldn't doubt it.
For Disney Plus.
Like, seriously. Like, fuck. Yeah, because that show's going to get eyeballs.
It will. Everybody on YouTube will watch it. So
just to fucking burn it. Yeah, burn it to the ground. Yeah. fuck me. But no, it's just, to me, I think that would be about the only positive thing that could come out of a Disney buyout.
Yeah, they have
Would
the
be,
money and the time to, like you said, back shelf it for a while.
yeah,
They still make money off of it because now they own the rights. They can still work parts of it into the theme parks and stuff like
yeah,
that. So it's not like they bought it and just aren't using it. But wait until they put out a movie
yeah.
and like
Give it a
actually
year.
really,
Give it a year
really
or
try to
two
make a good
to
movie.
to breathe, right? Because it takes time to make a movie anyway.
Yeah.
So, you get the right script together, you get your ideas, yada, yada, yada. It takes about a year, 2 years, 3 years. But you're probably pushing it at 2 years. But anyway, or you release a TV show, but you release it a year after the purchase. And you give it time to breathe between the CBS era and the Disney era. But you give it time to breathe, because right now if CBS was rocking right now and hitting on all cylinders, and then you bought them, then you'd want to push something out right away.
Yeah.
But they're not. So you want to give it breathing time, right?
And give time for all the fans to think about how horrible it's going to be.
Yeah. Lowered expectations.
Yeah.
And then, you could release something. I wouldn't want them to go right to Star Trek versus Star Wars, as much as that would be like
Yeah.
somebody's,
I don't think they would do it right away.
right? Because
If they did
that
it.
would be the dream thing, right? That, every fan thinks they want to see it until they see it, and then they go,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?" That was nothing like what I thought it was going to be. What the fuck? Vader dies to a phaser bolt? What the fuck? There's no way. Fuck that horse shit. Backlash versus lightsaber, something like that, fuck off. And the lightsaber not cut through the battle. For some fucking reason. Who knows? It's, it is fucking Disney. Anything is possible.
I can just picture you get the Mickey Mouse ear hats, at Disney World.
Yeah.
I can just picture them with Spock ears on them instead of Mickey Mouse
absolutely. Yeah. Fuck. But it just, to me, the thought of Disney buying Star Wars or Star Trek has always been like, I don't know if you really want both those brands under the same roof. Like, as much as us fans have always fantasized about it, do we really want it? Right? Because the problem with that becomes this. Let's say, for instance, they did do it. They'd have Star Trek versus Star Wars. So right now, okay, as a fan base, Star Trek fans, Star Wars fans, we argue back and forth. Who would win between the Enterprise E and a Star Destroyer? Who would win between this person, this ship, that ship, right? Well, here's the problem. The reason we can argue about it is because it's never happened.
Yeah.
Right? If it happens on screen, right, and a Galaxy-class starship absolutely obliterates a Star Destroyer without even blinking twice, the Star Trek fan will always have, well, in canon, the Enterprise D destroyed it. Right? We don't have that argument right now. Or vice versa. The Star Destroyer destroys the Enterprise. As much as that would piss off Star Trek fans. The Star Wars fan then has, well, in canon, our Star Destroyer destroyed your starship.
Yeah.
Right? So right now we have an endless argument that can never be, truly figured out because it's never happened on screen.
Yeah.
Right? if they're under the same roof and they do a crossover, all these arguments become problematic because they're going to be seen on screen. And for us canon-loving people who go, well, if it happened on screen, then that is the way it is.
Yeah, now it's here forever.
Now it's there forever. You can't take it back, right? There's no question anymore, right? It's, well, whether you like it or not, in canon, this ship obliterated this one. In canon. There's no taking it back now. Right? So that's the danger that we get, because a lot of times as fans, we fantasize about this people meeting up with this people and this group meeting up with that. But in practice, do we really want to see it?
I don't think people really do.
Right?
If they really think about it. Because it's not going to end well.
No, it's going to go, it could go sideways really quick. Because there's the way you see it in your mind's eye, and then there's the way it comes out on screen.
Yeah.
And they don't usually cross over.
No, they don't.
But with that, this has just been a little fun little chat. I hope that everybody enjoys it. We thought we'd do something a little different, a little bit more fun. We might do a couple more of these where it's just fun. As many people, by the time this gets released, I am on my 2-week hiatus because Mary would have already been here. Mary would have landed yesterday because this will come out on Wednesday, so of next week as we're recording. So Mary would have landed yesterday. So I'm going to be sporadically around. I have a few things I'm recording so that hopefully things come out while I'm incognito and busy. But I hope everybody enjoyed this. And Han, thank you again for joining me. We actually got one recorded a little bit behind the scenes. This is our third attempt at this.
Yeah.
We tried 2 weeks ago twice to record.
We've
ended
had
up
hours
talking
worth,
for 3 fucking hours, but we didn't record a single fucking
We've
thing.
had hours worth of conversations, just never recorded it.
Never recorded it. But at any rate, thank you, Han. I'll give you a chance here to promote your shtick, and we'll get out of here.
I'm Honstar, youtube.com// if I could speak proper English. The home of Name That Tune, Jackbox Game Night, other fun streams. You can find me here on Rob's channel. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at HonstarYT.
Awesome. All right. And with that, thank you all, and have a good night.